Welcome to From the Den podcast, providing Bears and NFL fans alike with compelling news, discussion, and debate. I'm your co-host Benjamin, joined alongside my dear friend and co-host Oren.
Hey Benjamin, let's get right into it. As always, kickoff starts now.
So, that is it for our grade reviews. Now we're going to move into the reaches and steals. So, Oren, you can go first.
So I think I'll start off with reach, and I think my biggest reach is Damon Arnett, cornerback at Ohio State. Like I said earlier, he's a second or third round player that the Raiders picked, and I think that I get that they need a cornerback, but they could have traded up 3 picks and picked AJ Terrell. And I'm not saying I love AJ Terrell, but what I will say is that AJ Terrell versus Damon Arnett is such a big gap that it's worth trading a third round pick.
I could definitely agree with you on that pick, but just for the sake of, having a nice debate, I'm going to say Andrew Thomas was the biggest reach. It just doesn't make sense to me. It boggles me. I've already mentioned this way earlier when we were talking about the pick of Andrew Thomas, but it just seems like such a waste of a fourth overall pick to me. If they want to take a nice solid player like Andrew Thomas, fine, but why not just move down like a way lower pick and do that? Why do you have to waste your 4th overall pick? That's why I think it's such a reach to take him there.
Yeah. So I think one of my steals, the biggest steal of the draft, is CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver out of Oklahoma. I think he's the best receiver in this draft, better than Jerry Jeudy by a slight bit. But I think that the Cowboys stole him. And we're not talking about fits or anything right now. We're talking about who got the best value for their pick. And that's the reason why I think it was the biggest steal, because pick 17, it's very rare to find a player with CeeDee Lamb's skill at pick 17. And I think that the Cowboys really, really lucked out. And I get that he may not be a great fit for the Cowboys because they don't really need a wide receiver. But I think that the fact they still got him at 17 makes him such a great steal.
I have basically the same mindset for you, but I'm just going to go with Jerry Jeudy with the Broncos because I think that he's the best wide receiver. And a lot of people were projecting Jerry Jeudy to go in the top 10, especially since for most people, he was the best wide receiver. They thought of him as the best wide receiver. So the fact that the Broncos were able to get him at 15, especially that they needed a wide receiver the most, I think is such a steal. And I think I'm very excited to see how he pans out on this Denver offense.
Yeah, so we're going to do one more reach and then one more steal each. So my reach is Austin Jackson, offensive tackle out of USC. I get that he is a project, but I'm not really sure that it's worth the pick, especially for them right now. I feel like with Tua, they just needed to solidify their offensive line because I think at this point it's their biggest need. And I don't think that they did that with that pick. I think that Austin Jackson may be an average offensive tackle. I'm not very high on him. But what I will say is that he needs time to become an average offensive tackle. And what scares me is that Tua is going to be in the pocket while Austin Jackson is being a terrible offensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually he may become average, but I'm not sure that by that time Tua won't have 10 broken legs and just be hobbling off the field.
Okay. Another big reach I think was AJ Terrell, out of Clemson. I was saying I think it makes sense that the Falcons took a cornerback, but it just confused me how the top 2 cornerbacks deserve to go that high. But aside from that, I think that they could have waited. I don't understand why all these teams didn't just trade down. I don't think he's worth the 16th overall pick, and that's why I think it was a reach. Despite that, I will say the Falcons did need a cornerback.
So I'll say my steal is Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle out of Iowa. He was my best offensive tackle, my highest graded offensive tackle out of all the 4 offensive tackles that were taken through the first 13 picks. And he was taken last. The Buccaneers filled the need. And I get that we're not really talking about needs, but I think the fact that they got an offensive tackle, usually offensive tackles, this is a very good offensive tackle draft. Usually offensive tackles are in this skilled, and considering that I think they got the best one at a very low pick, that was, I think, one of the biggest steals, if not the biggest steal.
Okay, another big steal I think is Kayvon Chason. I already talked about how I thought it was a good pick. I gave it an A because also it just fits in with the Jaguars. I really think they stole him here. I think he showed a lot of potential at LSU. And you did mention he was a little injury prone, but I still think for how much potential and how great of a player he was, that him sliding down to 20 is kind of crazy. And I think he was just a great pick for the Jaguars.
Yeah, so that's it for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and bear down.
Bear down, guys.
If you enjoyed this episode of From the Den, please remember to subscribe, comment, and like this video.
Or, if you're a Packers fan, remember to dislike and leave a nasty comment. Click the links on the screen to access additional content.